Hey, sorry this video is late. My computer had to have the hard drive replaced, and I live in a really small town, so I had to drive 3 hours away to a Mac store for them to replace the hard drive and drive back, and then come back 3 days later to pick up my computer. And yesterday was when I picked up my computer. So, yay, my computer's fixed, but yeah, I'm late. So this week's topic is religion, which let me yeah. Uh, I haven't had my trans status interact with my religious beliefs very much at all. I'm Jewish, but I was, like I've mentioned before, I was raised in a really small town where my family was one of the only Jewish families. I was the only Jewish kid in the school system until, pretty much until right before I graduated. There was another Jewish family there in town, but they have young kids, and yeah. So, but I am connected to a university, so there is a Hillel here, but I'm not that involved in it. Most of my spiritual upbringing was in the home. So my mom is Jewish. My dad is actually Catholic. He converted when I was 13. So, but my parents are still married, so interfaith household. And so I was raised and educated um, in my religion from in the home. So my mom is really cool with trans and LGBT stuff. So for me, religion has always been told from her point of view, which is God made people LGBTQ. It's totally chill. We're very liberal. Um, and when we did attend synagogue when I was growing up for the High Holy Days and things like that, we went to a Reform temple, and Reform Judaism is pretty chill. So I haven't had any negative uh, interactions. I have been more interested in Judaism lately, and by lately I mean the past 2 years. I read a book called Balance. Okay, I don't know if I can pronounce it. It's a book. It's an anthology called like Balancing on the um the Orthodox thing that divides the men and women. I can't pronounce it. Uh, and it was really helpful to me and really neat to see how other trans people had dealt with Judaism and finding prayers and rituals that spoke to their gender identities. For instance, someone went through this whole like transformation ceremony to mark becoming a man, and actually my coming out party, which it wasn't really a coming out party, it was a party right before I started testosterone, and my friend threw it for me, and it was the theme was kind of bar mitzvah because I kind of was drawn to that idea of like this coming of age ceremony, being a man, things like that. I never actually had a bar or bat mitzvah because I lived so far away from the temple that I would have had to drive 2 hours every week for instruction. They didn't have any sort of commuter thing available. Um, I'm 21, so when I was 12 or 13, when I would have started thinking about those things, the internet was not what it is now. Old people didn't know how to use it as much, so they hadn't developed any sort of commuter stuffs. So yeah, I didn't have that. I really wish I had. I, for a short period of time, considered going and getting one, but I still live 2 hours away from the nearest synagogue, and I looked into the long distance stuff, and it just isn't worth it to me to do that because I could. What I want out of it is less of the ceremony now and more of um, the learning and the knowledge and stuff. So I'm thinking of taking some sort of class, like adult education class, when I graduate and go on to join a temple that hopefully will exist in the city that I move to. Uh, I am taking a Judaism class next semester, so that is it's going to be interesting to see how other people have, like, how, like, I know that my experiences with Judaism are kind of unique, so I want to see, like, how um, other people, what they say about it and, like, things like that. So it'll be interesting. But as far as my gender identity, I was named in the temple when I was a baby, and my Hebrew name was Leah, which is not gender neutral. So I've also been thinking about that. For instance, like I was thinking of going on the Birthright tour of Israel, which is basically like between the ages of 18 and 26, you sign up and fill out some stuff, write some essays or something, and you can go to Israel for free, which really appeals to me because I do not make any money right now. Because update, I quit my job at McDonald's. So yeah, it really appeals to me. But thinking about proving my Jewish identity, I have a naming certificate with a female name, and I don't actually know if anyone else has dealt with this, but I would really like a male Hebrew name. And I kind of read about it, and apparently you can just make one up, which is great. And if it's used in temple to call you to the Torah, then it counts. But um, just thinking about those things that I took for granted is that technically, um, I am not considered. Technically, I'm still a young Jewish woman, according to my documentation. And I guess documentation is not super important, but like, I don't have a male Hebrew name. I have never actually been to temple as male because I attended services last year and I decided to give them my female name because I was lame and I didn't think so. I'm interested in this topic, but I haven't had a lot of experience with it, and I know I will soon because I am going to be um, getting more involved in organized religion. But personally, being trans does not affect my religious beliefs because I'm like, God is chill. But yeah, I am going to be interested in seeing how things kind of pan out. My girlfriend is kind of um, been learning about Judaism and things like that. I wouldn't say she's considering converting as much as she's like has a lot of conversion books laying around because people give them to her. Uh, but wondering about when we join a temple, explaining our situation, how if we'll be treated as a same-sex couple or like what. So I'm really interested in other people's responses to this, but yeah, that's my experience.